There is a specific kind of exhaustion we all carry right now. It is a low-level hum of panic, a persistent feeling that reality itself is fracturing, and that our social structures could invert at any given moment. Standard political analysis points toward algorithmic bias, or moral decay, as the cause of this friction. We treat these as failures of human character, as if the right leader or a better policy could simply smooth them over. This is a structural glitch in our physical reality. The load-bearing pillars of our information systems are snapping under a specific kind of pressure that has nothing to do with ideology. If human society is a mechanical construct bound by the exact same physical laws as matter, then our current culture war is an observable engineering failure. We built a machine, and its foundation is failing to hold the weight. To understand why the machine is breaking, we need to look at a concept in quantum physics called superfluidity. A superfluid is a unique state of matter with absolute zero viscosity. It flows entirely without friction or resistance. We accidentally engineered our digital civilization into a superfluid environment. Because there is no friction online, data propagates instantly. A synthetic hallucination or a fabricated lie costs absolutely nothing to generate, and it spreads across the globe without any physical resistance. This environment breaks our biological programming. Humans evolved for a viscous, physical world. We rely on boundaries. When you knock on a table, the table knocks back. That resistance is how we orient ourselves and verify a shared reality. Because we have stripped all friction from our information systems, the truth has lost its mass. We are left flailing in a digital void, where our actions have no impact, no echo, and no physical return. This frictionless environment leads directly to our first diagnostic symptom, a tumbling society. In physics, there is a bizarre anomaly of rotational dynamics known as the Janibikov effect. The phenomenon was famously demonstrated in the zero-gravity environment of the International Space Station. An object spinning in a vacuum appears perfectly stable for a few seconds, and then, without external force touching it, violently flips 180 degrees. This happens because the object is rotating on its intermediate axis. This is a state of inherent geometric fragility. Instead of suppressing microscopic background noise, the geometry amplifies it. A tiny vibration becomes a wobble, and the wobble triggers a catastrophic inversion. For 2 decades, our civilization has rotated on its intermediate axis. Our 24-hour, algorithm-driven media cycle spins at the speed of reaction rather than the speed of truth. It lacks the moment of inertia that verified facts provide. Bad actors exploit this exact geometric fragility. Using a technique called fire hosing, flooding the network with high volumes of rapid-fire falsehoods, they intentionally inject vibrations, forcing the social system into a perpetual state of flipping. The sudden, violent polarization of our culture is the inevitable physical outcome of a society spinning rapidly without the stabilizing anchor of mass. There is a second physical diagnostic for our fractured reality, known as the Kibble-Zurich mechanism, or the global quench. This principle describes what happens when a system undergoes a rapid phase transition, like the early universe cooling down. If you force a system to cool too fast, different regions choose how to organize themselves locally before communicating with their neighbors. When these independently formed regions eventually expand and touch, their internal structures don't align. They crash into each other, leaving permanent structural scars known as domain walls. We forced humanity through a global digital transition at the speed of light that completely outpaced the biological speed at which human beings build trust, verify facts, and heal. Our information ecosystem cooled faster than the relaxation time of our social fabric. This creates a topological defect, a permanent boundary in the social fabric, where different groups have selected mutually exclusive realities. These domain walls are the physical reason communication between these groups has effectively stopped. You cannot fix a tumbling zero-gravity system by lightly tapping it. Superficial content moderation is like trying to stop a spinning metal wingnut with a feather. The instability is completely structural. Constructive optimism provides an engineering framework for this problem. we have to manually reintroduce viscosity into our information ecosystem to prevent the next flip and stabilize the rotation of the system. The Objective Observer Initiative builds digital infrastructure with enough informational inertia to stabilize the system. This shifts our rotation toward a stable axis, where verified reality outweighs the microscopic, destabilizing noise of the algorithm. The protocol for this is reconstructed time. By requiring citizens to manually verify a specific minute of history, we force the digital cycle to wait for human biological processing. This creates artificial lag, the very viscosity needed to slow the news cycle down to a speed where human consensus can actually form. By co-constructing digital environments that operate at human biological speeds, we can escape the frictionless void. We can engineer a civilization that is stable enough and quiet enough to let us simply live.